I want to share a story about what a cocaine smuggler taught me about mindset. What's up? It's Rob Cressy. So, 2 days ago, right before I go to bed, I decided to turn on the TV just to decompress for like 10 minutes. And it's a Tuesday. NBA playoffs are done. NHL playoffs are done. And there is nothing on. So, I'm just sitting there channel surfing. And all of a sudden, I see a show on Nat Geo that says, "To Catch a Smuggler." And I'm like, all right, I like to watch things about drugs. Let's see what's up with this. And I enter during the middle of a segment, and they're showing this very normal looking guy in Spain at the airport. And there's two police officers escorting him to essentially what would be an interrogation room. And he's sitting there, and I believe he's carrying just one suitcase. Maybe it's two. And I noticed how casual this looks. And I'm like, wow, this guy looks like he's in a lot of trouble. And everyone's pretty casual. They're not like right next to him. I thought he could just run away, but he doesn't. He's just a normal looking dude. He's maybe in his 50s or something. So they take him back to the interrogation room, and they open up both of his suitcases, and there's some hidden compartments. And what do they find? Boom. 4 bricks of cocaine. And it's like, ruh-roh, this guy's in some big time trouble. And while all this is going on, the thing that I'm fixated on is this guy. So he knows his life is about to be over. He's about to get caught smuggling cocaine in Spain. And I'm watching his demeanor. And through it all, I'm just blown away at how casual this guy is. Like, some people, if you've ever watched any of these shows, you can see it on their face where they're sweating. They look like, oh my God, I'm about to get busted for cocaine. Not this guy. He's just sitting there completely normal, like it's a Tuesday. And the thing that I learned from this guy, and they ask him, or they're just asking him some questions or something. And he goes, you know what? I got caught. I got to face the music, and getting upset or angry isn't going to help the situation. My mind exploded. I was like, this guy just got busted with 4 kilos of cocaine in the airport. He's going to jail for a long time. And he has the mindset and self-awareness to say, you know what? I'm facing the music. This is the risk that I took. I got caught getting angry and upset. Not going to do a thing. And he just chilled. And I was like, whoa, this guy is, I guess he's a hero for me, but I'm now learning from this dude who's getting busted for cocaine. So as we dive deeper into this, I think about a coaching conversation I had yesterday. And I was talking about neutral thinking. And this is sort of the bow on the wrapper of the Cocaine Smuggler. So what this guy was exercising or showing is the power of neutral thinking. And there's a great book about this called Getting to Neutral by Trevor Moawad. I also recommend you read his book, It Takes What It Takes. Those are 2 books that are fantastic. And what neutral thinking is about is, think of this 3 levels. You can have positive thinking, negative thinking, or neutral thinking. So often when we have a negative event happen in our lives, it's like, oh my God, you feel like you just got hit by a ton of bricks. And now this just keeps looping in your head over and over and over again. That's when we get angry or upset or sad or feel anxiety or depression about when something bad happens. Boom, we're feeling the negative story. But what this book teaches is getting to neutral. So instead of living in that negative story in your head, what I want you to do is just get to 0. And all that means is you're not thinking about the negative story, because a lot of people think that somehow when something bad happens to you, and I'm someone who has a very high energy personality. So they're like, Rob, did you ever have anything bad happen to you? And are you just like, oh crap, got thrown in your face, and you're like, oh my God, it's the best day ever? No. Doesn't work that way. I don't coach people to go from super negative to super positive, and that's the lens you're creating for yourself. Instead, you've got 3 levels, and maybe you can think of it as a negative story is a -1, neutral is a 0, and positive is a +1. And of course, we would love to get to the +1 eventually, but if you can see it as steps, it's a lot easier to go from a negative to a neutral. So what does neutral look like? Well, maybe when you go to the bathroom or you're just drinking a cup of water, you're not really thinking about much. You're just chilling, you're calm, you're at neutral right there. So when something challenging happens in your life, get to neutral. So you're like, all right, how can I just not think about this? It doesn't mean I got to create the positive version of it, but how can I just not think about this thing and get to neutral? And this cocaine smuggler was the epitome of this because he was self-aware enough to say, listen, my life just went down the tubes, but I'm not going to trip about this. I'm going to chill at neutral. And of course, this takes work. And this guy is probably the model example of this. And I know in the book, Get Into Neutral, what the analogy that Trevor Moawad gives is in the playoffs, Russell Wilson once threw 4 interceptions. And I believe this was against the Packers, but don't quote me on that. And then somehow he found a way to lead the Seahawks to the game-winning touchdown drive, and they won. And the analogy essentially says Russell Wilson, every time he threw the interception, wasn't sitting there being like, oh my God, I threw another interception. Oh my God, I'm having the worst game of my life. Instead, it was, all right, neutral thinking. What's the thing that I can do next to perform and put my team in a position to win? Boom, gets to neutral. He's not trying to say, oh my God, I got to make all of this up in one throw. No, boom, let me make one positive decision that gets me out of, I just threw 4 interceptions. So this is what I learned, and this is a super valuable skill. The more you do this, the better that you're going to get at it. So hopefully one day you don't get caught smuggling cocaine in Spain with a hidden suitcase full of blow. But when life hits you with something, instead of being like, oh my God, how do I have to try and make this into a positive? It's a lot easier to go from -1 to 0. Because once you're at 0, you're like, oh, I'm not feeling that thing that I was previously feeling. Now you can build upon that. And the more you do this, then you're like, boom, I've shrunk my dispersion. And I now know how to go from -1 to 0, 0 to +1. I can do it a lot quicker than previously. So really inspired by this cocaine smuggler. Hopefully you got the same lesson I did out of this. And if you've been following this podcast or watching my videos, you know on July 13th, I have a podcasting cohort coming on called Shining Your Voice. It is a program for thought leaders who want to launch a podcast, amplify their voice, grow their brand, and ultimately make a positive impact in the world. And this video and podcast is a perfect example of it because I saw something on TV. Ooh, there's a lesson that I saw that I implemented in my life. I implemented it in my coaching program, and now I share it with others. So the world wants to hear more from you. So if you've got those ideas and that knowledge inside of you and it's burning and you've been thinking about this program, it's 5 weeks. It will help you easily launch a podcast and use podcasting as a platform for growth. So you can go to robcressy.com/voice. I look forward to seeing you there, sending tons of good vibes your way. Hope you have yourself an amazing rest of the day.